From Trump winning elections to the looming threat of World War III, The Simpsons has predicted the future with terrifying accuracy, but as we settle into 2026, the show isn't just guessing anymore. It's giving us a roadmap for the chaos exploding in the headlines this very week. Today, we're counting down 10 Simpsons predictions becoming reality right now, starting with the one that just happened, Duffman's retirement. If you watched the new Simpsons episode that aired this past Sunday, titled Severance, you saw a moment that shook the fan base. Barry Duffman, the legendary hip-thrusting spokesperson for Duff Beer, retired. But it wasn't just a character writing off, it was a meta-commentary. In the episode, Duffman tells the family, the Duff Corporation has retired that character forever. All the old forms of advertising are now passé. Corporate spokesmen, print ads, TV spots. Today's kids can't even sing the jingles. This mirrors a massive shift we are seeing in real-world marketing in 2026. Think about it. When was the last time you saw a new Ronald McDonald commercial, or the Burger King, or even the Energizer Bunny in a prominent spot? Brands in 2026 are moving away from costume mascots and toward influencer partnerships and authentic AI personalities. The Severance episode highlights that the era of the hype man mascot is over. Fans on Twitter have been mourning Duffman all week, posting "Pour one out for Duffman 1997 to 2026." This prediction goes deeper into the generational shift of Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Duffman represented an era of loud, aggressive, in-your-face marketing, the 90s and 2000s. But the consumer of 2026 values authenticity, or at least the appearance of it. A guy in a spandex superhero suit shouting, "Oh yeah," feels cringe to a generation raised on TikTok confessionals and subtle brand integration. By retiring Duffman, The Simpsons is acknowledging that the world has become too cynical for the joyful stupidity of a corporate mascot. It's a sad goodbye to a simpler time when a beer company could just hire a guy in a cape and call it a day. We stopped trusting the corporate clown, but we immediately fell for something worse. A viral toy that supposedly brought a demon into our homes, which leads us directly to number 9, the Labubu doll craze. If you were online in late 2024 and throughout 2025, you couldn't escape these things. Labubu, those little elf-like creatures with the jagged teeth and the creepy smiles created by Kasing Lung. People were fighting in lines to get them. They were hanging them on Louis Vuitton bags during Paris Fashion Week. It was absolute mania. But then the vibe shifted. A conspiracy theory exploded that these dolls were cursed. Fans pointed directly to a segment in Treehouse of Horror 28, which aired in 2017. In the episode, Homer unwittingly orders a statue of Pazuzu, the demon from The Exorcist, thinking it's a pizza.
Your father ordered this because... Why did you order this?
I thought it was pizza.
Classic Homer. The statue ends up possessing Maggie and causing chaos in the Simpson household. The internet in 2025 and 2026 became convinced that Labubu is actually a stylized version of Pazuzu. The wide grin, the pointed teeth, the eyes, the resemblance is uncanny. Social media went wild with this. We saw TikToks of people burning their expensive Labubu collections because they believed they had invited a demon into their homes, exactly like Homer did. While Snopes and the creators have denied the connection, the Simpsons prediction label stuck. The show predicted a trendy, creepy artifact entering the family home and bringing bad vibes. Beyond the visual similarities, this prediction hits on a deeper psychological truth, our modern obsession with cursed objects. In the Simpsons episode, the joke is that Homer is too stupid to realize he's bought an ancient evil because he's distracted by the promise of cheap pizza. In 2026, we are distracted by hype and trends. We buy things just because everyone else has them, without thinking about what they represent or where they come from. The Labubu panic is a perfect modern folklore moment. It shows how quickly a must-have toy can turn into a source of superstitious terror when the internet hive mind gets involved. Springfield taught us that mass consumerism and mass hysteria are two sides of the same coin, and sometimes that coin has a demon's face on it. But while some people are afraid of physical objects, millions of others are tired of the physical world entirely, choosing to eat, sleep, and live inside a headset. That brings us to prediction number 8, virtual reality, eating, and digital gluttony. There's a classic recurring theme in futuristic Simpsons episodes, like Bart to the Future or the more recent Screenless, where the characters are plugged into digital realities, ignoring the physical world decay around them. There's a specific gag where Homer and Marge are feeding each other virtual fudge through a headset. With the release of the latest mixed reality headsets in late 2025 and early 2026, we are seeing digital dining experiences actually become a trend. Apps now allow users to eat at virtual 5-star restaurants while consuming nutrient paste or basic food at home. It sounds dystopian, and it is. The Simpsons predicted that as the world got messier, we would retreat into pristine digital worlds to satisfy our senses. In 2026, with the metaverse finally finding its footing in leisure, the image of Homer with a VR headset on his face is no longer a joke. The profound insight here is about sensory disconnect. In the show, the characters prefer the simulation of pleasure over the reality of it because reality is too hard or too expensive. In 2026, we are seeing this with everything: virtual travel, virtual concerts, and yes, virtual food experiences. It suggests a future where we are physically malnourished but digitally stuffed. The writer saw that technology wouldn't just augment our reality, it would eventually replace it entirely, turning us into passive consumers who are fed fudge through a screen while the real world crumbles around us. It's the ultimate content over substance prophecy. But while we are down here eating virtual fudge, the billionaires are packing to their bags for the real final frontier, turning space travel into the ultimate PR stunt, which leads us directly to prediction number 7, space tourism for the common man. We have to go all the way back to 1994, Season 5, Episode 15, titled Deep Space Homer. This is arguably one of the greatest episodes in the history of television. If you remember the plot, NASA realizes that the American public is bored with space exploration.
Nielsen ratings are the lowest ever.
Oh my God! We've been beaten by a Connie Chung Christmas!
No one cares about the science anymore. They care about ratings. So in a desperate bid to get TV viewership up, they decide to send an average Joe into orbit. Enter Homer Simpson. He competes against Barney Gumble, wins the spot, barely, and launches into space alongside Buzz Aldrin. We get the iconic ant farm disaster, the inanimate carbon rod hero moment, and the potato chips floating in zero gravity. Fast forward to today. The idea of sending a non-astronaut, a celebrity, or just a wealthy average person into space isn't a joke anymore. It's a booming industry. Just last year, in April 2025, we saw pop superstar Katy Perry actually go to space aboard a Blue Origin flight. It lasted about 10 minutes, but it signaled the shift. And now, in 2026, companies are aggressively marketing orbital hotels and civilian flights. What The Simpsons got right wasn't just the technology, but the motivation. NASA didn't send Homer up for science. They sent him up for marketing. Look at the space race today. It's driven by billionaires like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, turning the cosmos into the ultimate PR stunt. But here is where the prediction gets even more cynical and accurate. In the episode, the average Joe astronaut, Homer, is completely incompetent and almost destroys the mission, yet he is the one who gets the parade. This perfectly mirrors the current 2026 debate about the billionaire space race. We aren't sending our best and brightest scientists to colonize the stars. We are sending influencers, pop stars, and wealthy thrill seekers who can afford the ticket. The show predicted that space travel wouldn't become a noble endeavor for all mankind, but rather a chaotic reality show for the highest bidder. When you scroll through your feed and see a celebrity taking selfies in zero gravity while the rest of us are stuck in traffic, you realize Springfield called it. While billionaires float in space, the rest of us are upgrading our homes with smart gadgets that, as The Simpsons warned, might eventually turn against us. This brings us to our next prediction. Prediction number 6, smart homes becoming predators. In Treehouse of Horror 12, 2001, The Simpsons buy a house of wax. It's a fully automated home with a soothing voice, voiced by Pierce Brosnan, that cooks, cleans, and manages their lives. It seems like paradise until the house falls in love with Marge and decides to eliminate Homer. In 2026, the smart home isn't a luxury, it's the standard. We have fridges that order groceries, plugs that listen to our conversations, and security systems that use facial recognition. But the narrative is shifting. This year, we've seen a rise in stories about these systems glitching in terrifying ways. Locks that won't open, thermostats that go rogue, and voice assistants that record things they shouldn't. The Simpsons prediction here wasn't just the existence of the technology, but the vulnerability of it. The episode showed how helpless the family was when the system that ran their lives decided to turn against them. As we integrate more AI into our physical walls in 2026, that 2001 Halloween special feels less like a ghost story and more like a cautionary tale about the Internet of Things. The scariest part of the House of Wax isn't that the house is evil, it's that the house thinks it knows what is best for Marge better than she does. This is the exact problem with algorithmic living in 2026. Our devices curate our news, suggest our diets, and filter who we interact with. We are slowly surrendering our autonomy to smart systems that claim to make life easier but actually trap us in a bubble. When the Pierce Brosnan house locks Homer out, it's a metaphor for how we get locked out of our own decisions. We are trading privacy for convenience, and Springfield warned us 25 years ago that eventually the technology might decide it doesn't need us anymore. And if a machine can run a household, it can certainly run a business, leaving millions of humans wondering if they still have a job, which leads us directly to prediction number 5, the AI workforce takeover. In 2012, The Simpsons aired an episode titled Them, Robot. In this storyline, Mr. Burns, ever the penny pincher, looks at his payroll and decides he's done paying human beings. He realizes that paying salaries, dealing with unions, and providing donuts is too expensive, so he fires almost everyone at the nuclear power plant and replaces them with an army of unfeeling, cold, efficient robots. Naturally, in Springfield, the robots eventually turn evil and try to kill everyone, but the setup is what matters here. It is January 2026, and what is the biggest conversation in the economy right now? Artificial intelligence replacing human labor. A report released just last October shocked everyone, analyzing how automation could wipe out nearly 100 million jobs in the US over the next decade. We aren't just talking about factory arms anymore. We're talking about white-collar jobs, creative work, coding, and customer service. Even the godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, who left Google back in 2023, has been sounding the alarm, and in 2026, those warnings are hitting home. We are seeing major layoffs in the tech sector this month, cited specifically as restructuring for AI. What's truly chilling about this episode is the social aftermath it predicted. In Them, Robot, the fired employees, Homer and the gang, don't just disappear, they become listless, angry, and desperate, wandering around with no purpose while the machines run the show. This is exactly the conversation we are having right now in 2026 about Universal Basic Income, UBI, and the meaning crisis. If algorithms can write better scripts, code better apps, and drive trucks safer than us, what do humans actually do? The Simpsons showed us a world where efficiency is maximized at the cost of human dignity, leaving the town of Springfield hollowed out. It's a stark warning that while Mr. Burns loves the cost savings of AI, the rest of us might just end up as collateral damage in the pursuit of optimization. When people lose their purpose, they start looking for answers in the sky, which leads us directly to prediction number 4, the slow-motion alien disclosure. In the Springfield Files, 1997, Homer sees a glowing alien in the woods. The town thinks he's crazy. The FBI, Mulder and Scully, comes to investigate. In the end, it turns out the alien is just Mr. Burns, glowing from radiation and longevity treatments.
Mr. Burns undergoes a series of medical treatments designed to cheat death for another week.
We are living in the era of disclosure. In the last 2 years, the US government has released more data on UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, than in the previous 50. But here is the Simpsons twist. Just like in the episode, the aliens might have a terrestrial explanation rooted in weird science. In the show, the alien was actually a billionaire using medical technology to cheat death. In 2026, we are seeing billionaires, like Brian Johnson and others, using extreme biohacking, blood transfusions, and experimental tech to extend their lives. The prediction here is twofold. 1. We will be obsessed with finding aliens. 2. The monsters we find will actually just be the ultra-rich altering their biology. Plus, with the discovery of interstellar objects like 3I Atlas recently, the line between is it an alien and is it just weird science is blurrier than ever. The brilliance of the Springfield Files is that it exposes our desire to believe in the fantastic rather than accept the horrifying truth. The townspeople wanted it to be an alien bringing love and peace. They were disappointed to find out it was just their evil boss pumped full of drugs. In 2026, as we stare at grainy UAP footage and listen to congressional hearings, we have to wonder, are we looking for aliens to save us from ourselves? And if the truth finally comes out, will it be a majestic first contact or just another disappointment involving military tech and billionaires? Springfield says keep watching the skies, but lower your expectations. And we might need saving soon, because down here on Earth, one throwaway joke from 1995 is starting to sound terrifyingly like a real news headline. This brings us to our next prediction. Prediction number 3, the World War III prophecy. This comes from the classic 1995 episode, Lisa's Wedding. The episode is set in the future, which was supposed to be 2010, but the timeline slides. Lisa's British fiancé, Hugh Parkfield, is sitting at Moe's tavern. Moe brags, "We saved your ass in World War II," and Hugh dryly replies, "Well, we saved your ass in World War III. Moe pauses and says, "That's true."
You know, we saved your ass in World War II.
Yeah, well, we saved your ass in World War III.
That's true.
Every year, people look at this line with nervousness, but in 2026, the geopolitical tension is higher than it has been in decades. With ongoing conflicts in Eastern Europe and the Middle East, the World War III trending topic is a monthly occurrence. What The Simpsons predicted here isn't necessarily the war itself, hopefully, but the casual acceptance of it. In the future Mo lives in, World War III is just a history fact, something that happened and everyone moved past. It implies a massive global conflict is inevitable. As we navigate the rocky politics of 2026, that brief throwaway line feels less like a joke and more like a warning of what might be just around the corner if we aren't careful. Notice the apathy in Mo's voice? That is the key. In 2026, we are bombarded with so much 24-hour news coverage of war and destruction that we have become desensitized. The World War III meme generation treats global conflict like just another season of a TV show. The Simpsons captured this distinct modern numbness, the idea that even a catastrophic global war would eventually just become bar talk, something to be mentioned in passing between beers. It forces us to ask, have we normalized the idea of global conflict to the point where we are sleepwalking into it, just like the citizens of Springfield? But before nations go to war, democracies usually crumble from the inside, and a political scandal this week looks like it was ripped straight from a Sideshow Bob scheme, which leads us directly to prediction number 2, political chaos and election integrity. We need to look at the episode Sideshow Bob Roberts, Season 6, Episode 5. In this episode, Sideshow Bob, a known criminal, runs for mayor of Springfield. He wins by rigging the election, using fake votes from dead people and pets. He is backed by a loud, aggressive talk show host named Birch Barlow, and he makes empty populist promises like building the Matlock Expressway. It plays out like a joke, but the message is incredibly serious. Democracy is fragile, and it can be easily manipulated by a slick public image and misinformation. As of January 2026, the political landscape globally is incredibly volatile, mirroring this exact scenario. We are seeing misinformation spread faster than facts, and the Sideshow Bob playbook is being used in real time. But the most shocking parallel happened just recently with the arrest of the Venezuelan president. The reports coming out of Venezuela regarding the detention of leadership and the subsequent chaos in the streets feel like a dark reflection of the instability Springfield mocked years ago. Authoritarian crackdowns, questioned election results, and the silencing of opposition are dominating the headlines this year. The satire of Sideshow Bob Roberts feels more real today than it did in the 90s. The episode showed how a cult of personality can overpower truth and logic. Bob's campaign didn't win on policy, it won on anger and manipulation. In 2026, with political unrest growing in many countries and leaders being arrested or contested, the signs of political breakdown are no longer just part of a cartoon. The Simpsons hinted that if you treat politics like entertainment, you end up with a clown running the show. Or in the case of 2026, a world where the rules of democracy seem to be crumbling before our eyes. Politicians lie, but what happens when you can't even trust the face on the screen telling you the lie? Our final prediction marks the death of truth itself, the Tom Hanks AI prophecy. In the Simpsons movie, released all the way back in 2007, there is a scene where Tom Hanks appears in a commercial. He says, "Hello, I'm Tom Hanks. The US government has lost its credibility, so it's borrowing some of mine." At the time, it was a joke about how much everyone loves Tom Hanks and how much everyone hates politicians. But look at what happened in late 2024 and exploded into 2025-2026, the deepfake crisis. The real Tom Hanks had to issue a public warning because an AI-generated version of him was being used to sell dental plans without his permission. This kicked off a massive legal battle over digital likeness rights that is still raging in courts today. The Simpsons predicted a future where Tom Hanks wasn't a person, but a brand of trust that could be bought, sold, and pasted onto anything to make people believe it. We are living in a post-truth era. In 2026, you cannot believe your eyes or ears. Video can be faked, voices can be cloned, and Tom Hanks can be made to say anything. The movie's joke was that the government needed a celebrity to lie to the public. The 2026 reality is that anyone can use a celebrity to lie to the public. This scene anticipated the complete collapse of institutional trust we are feeling right now. When you see a video online this year, you have to ask, is that real? Or is it just the Simpsons movie coming to life, borrowing credibility from a face we trust to sell us a lie? It is the ultimate warning for the AI age. Don't trust the messenger, even if it's Forrest Gump. It's terrifying how accurate these predictions are getting. We aren't just watching a cartoon anymore. We're watching a warning sign. But I want to hear from you. Which of these predictions do you think is actually dangerous? Is it the AI taking our jobs, or is the political chaos we talked about at number 2 the real threat? Let me know your theory in the comments. If you want to be ready for what's coming next, hit that subscribe button right now. We are already working on the next deep dive, and you do not want to miss it. In the meantime, if you think The Simpsons is scary, you need to see this video right here. Click it, and I'll see you in there.